Hey, Matt. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Vanessa.
How is everyone doing today?
Good.
Good. And you?
Well, it was fine this morning when it was sunny, and then as the day has gone on, it looks like it's getting grayer and grayer, and I hear it's supposed to rain this evening. So,
Yeah, I need
I
that
could-
bright sun.
right, I could do without the rain.
I need to run home and cut the grass.
Yeah, that's what my dilemma is too.
That's the one beauty. At least the grass is nice and full and thick.
Well, it looks like so far we've only got the 5 of us on the call. I don't see anybody else that is in a waiting room, but we should give it a couple minutes.
So a heads up too, I work at a local small business here in Garfield, the Balloon Crew over on the Boulevard and East 88th Street. And we are just swamped, super swamped this weekend. So rather than running home to do the Zoom call and then coming back, just welcome to my office right here at the Balloon Crew. So you'll probably see some people walking in the back, maybe hear a balloon blow up or a pop or something like that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So your business has been good then?
Yeah, it has really taken off. It was a slow takeoff through the middle of April and then towards the end of April. And then just this last like 10 to 12 days, complete. Yeah.
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Yeah. So we have a lot of
Yes,
Mother's Day
Nurses Week.
And it's coming up on Sunday, isn't it?
and proms and graduations and baby showers and bridal showers. It's like everyone understood what they lost. So now they really want to celebrate the time together.
It's funny, I just looked you up yesterday. I was thinking of coming up Saturday. I need some balloons for a baby shower.
Yeah, we actually did, we did 4 last Saturday. Can you believe it? And then
Yeah.
A bridal shower and a baby shower on Sunday morning.
Although births are down according to vital statistics.
That doesn't surprise me. As a mom of 2 young ones myself, I can't imagine having a newborn in quarantine.
Oh no,
That would not work
me
at all.
either.
Yeah, but they thought there was going to be like a baby boom because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody got so tired of their significant other.
I was just gonna say,
Higher divorce rate.
Mm-hmm.
well, it looks like it's just gonna be us. I don't see anybody else joining us just yet, but if they come in, we can add them to the call. But I think the reason why we wanted to have this call is so that you could all get to know one another.
Okay.
So what we should do is go around. I think you all know me, I'm the mayor, and I spoke to each and every one of you. And the first thing I want to do is say thank you for volunteering to be part of this committee. I know, there's going to be times we're going to catch some criticism. It's happened almost at every single council meeting for me, but I don't want to lose the sight what this committee can do for the community. And I really appreciate each and every one of you. So let's go over to Marina. You can introduce yourself.
Nice. Anything in particular I should say?
Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
All right. So Marina, my last name's Palomino Bach. We live over, I don't know what ward it is. I'm not that good of a citizen quite yet. But we live over on East 117th between Edge Park and McCracken. If you've ever walked that way, we have a free little library in front of our house that my husband made.
Nice.
So come on by, pick up a book. For ages and ages, I've taught. So I went to Kent for my undergrad and 7 through 12 English education, and then went to Philly for a master's degree. And I taught at St. Martin de Porres downtown on East 55th and St. Clair for a really long time.
All righty. Let's move over to Miss Lyons. You're muted.
Okay, my name is Sarah Lyons. I've been in Garfield since 2005. I have one child. She did not go through the Garfield school system. And currently she has graduated college right into the pandemic in 2020. I work at Case Western Reserve University and work in alumni relations. So kind of working with publications, events, getting people to feel good about the school so they want to donate.
Good job.
I am Ward 6, so I do know my ward, but finding out who was running for the council seat was an issue for a bit, but someone helped me find that out. But I find the citizens in Garfield to be passionate about issues, and so I'm sure they'll be passionate about what they feel we are or are not doing. And I'm prepared for that. Look forward to working with everyone.
Thank you. Let's go over to Pastor Ian Cox.
Hello, everyone. Pastor Ian Cox. I pastor Holy Grove in Cleveland. That's where I am now. I'm in my office over at the church, right off of Buckeye on East 130th Street. I've been in Garfield Heights since 2003. And I live over on Elmwood, right off of Turney. I'm in Ward 4. And I'm just excited to get to know everybody. I have been married, it's 22 years. We have 3 children, and all of them have come up through the Garfield Heights school system. The 2 of them are still working at it. One of them is in college. And that's pretty much it all. I'm a full-time, I'm pastor full-time, and then I go to school full-time at Moody Bible Institute. I got 1 more year for my bachelor's.
Good for you.
Recording in progress.
How about Mr. Stemnock?
Hello, everybody. My name is Bob Stemnock, and my wife and I have our own design business. Is there like reverberation, or am I okay?
No, you're okay. I think I just had to mute.
Okay.
There was one that was picking up. We can always unmute. We had.
I don't want to be offensive my first time out of the gate. My wife and I have our own design firm. We do advertising and designing. And a lot of the work that we do is for schools and restaurants, believe it or not. So like Lawrence School, Hawkins School, Tri-C, Cincinnati State, a school out in Los Angeles, Turning Point. So we work with a lot of schools that help kids that don't learn in the conventional way. And we've been doing this a long time, and we live over here on Edge Park. So Marino, I know your lending library. We walk by there all the time because we walk in the park. We walk the dogs every day, so I hope it doesn't rain so we can walk the dogs. And Pastor Ian, our church is over on like a block from Shaker Square, Father Gary's church, if you know Father Chimura at Our Lady of Peace.
I am familiar, yes.
He's a great guy, which is why we go there. But I guess that's about it. You know, we're pretty much about the work that we do, but you know, I'm really good at making people look better than they think they can sometimes. So that's my claim to fame. Okay.
All righty. Mrs. O'Malley.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you all. And thank you, Mayor, for this opportunity. I have lived in Garfield Heights for 20 years. I am in Ward 4 on East 102nd. I have one son. He's in his 30s and he's in Local 18. I am retired from Metro Health, and I ran a physical medicine and rehab outpatient clinic, which had patients of high acuity levels such as brain injury, spinal cord stroke, lymphedema, ACMED, things of that nature. So I'm very familiar with inclusivity and equality. And at Metro, we had to take an annual test about those things. And that's something I'm hoping that maybe we can initiate here, not taking an annual test, but giving some classes, or instead of reinventing the wheel, there are organizations out there that offer classes. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. And last but not least, Pastor McHenry. I don't know if you can unmute.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So good to see all those faces that I can and hear the voices of those I cannot see. I'm grinning because I'm already excited. We haven't even done anything yet, but I'm excited about the things we have on the horizon to accomplish. I myself am a minister as well of Garfield Heights, Greater Heights Church of Christ. We are not presently located in the city of Garfield, but I think everybody knows we're searching for a building in Garfield Heights. That's what we want to labor out of. I've had a chance to meet Mayor personally, so I thank him for the invitation to the group. And I'm happy to meet everyone in the group. We have been in Garfield now for about, I'm thinking maybe about 7 years, 8 years. Don't run from me now. I am a Bedford Heights Bearcat alumni.
We definitely won't hold that against you.
So I done turned coat, and now I'm a Garfield Heights a resident. My children did not attend Garfield Heights before, but my youngest, she was 13. She is entering the school system this year. My other two children, my daughter is graduating from RN. She went to Howard University. My son is about to go to Kent State. He graduates this year. Y'all met my wife, Tamika. She's a director of nursing down at the University Hospital over at the Hannah House. And we're looking to do a lot of things in Garfield Heights, but most interestingly for me now, as myself and I, we are interested in working with all of you. We thank you, Jennifer, for making this meeting happen. And we thank you, Mayor, also for the insight to see the need to do something in the city that can help bring a harmony and lift the morale of the city, give people confidence that they have chose the right city to reside in and to bring their children into. So I'm just excited about everything that's happening. Again, my name is Kevin McHenry, and thank you all for your ears and your time.
Thank you. So what do we want to accomplish in this with this committee? Does anybody have any ideas? I have a bunch of ideas, but I want to hear from you guys.
I think educating the community, you know, and giving them a place to express themselves, and maybe something fun to do afterwards. But like I said, it's so hard to engage the community. That's the toughest thing, is engagement. But I think the first thing is educate them.
Well, if I could say for a moment, a couple council meetings that I've attended, and that's been through Zoom, people expressing themselves, it's been pretty contentious. So I think it would be really great for our group to figure out what our mission is, what we want to accomplish before we get everybody else's opinions coming in the door, because I think we need to know what direction we want to go in, only because it seems like everyone seems to have a complaint of some sort or other.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to sort of minimize that, at least while we're starting up.
I think one of the things that's kind of difficult that I see is it seems to be a lot of animosity. I got a lot of background noise somewhere.
It's from here. Sorry.
It seems to be a lot of animosity amongst the city council. And it seems like the decorum is not where it should be. And I think that that's something that we need to work on as a group, because meetings should not be, bash out matches. I believe that meetings should be to find the ends to a means, and then have a happy medium where we all can come together and agree that we need to make improvements on certain things, but find constructive ways, because everybody can bring problems, right?
Right.
But
And they do.
we need solutions to the problems now. And I kind of backed off from talking quite a bit, because there are some things that need to be addressed. But I feel like through this group, we could kind of be that piece that could hopefully come together and be the example for them, because meetings should not have all of that chat going on in the chat box, and then you have the mayor trying to speak, and then you have council people that are against one another. I just think that needs to be kind of squashed, because it's just so much animosity, and I think that needs to be calmed down, because we're never going to get anywhere if we don't come together. It's just not possible.
Right.
So I think that's one of the things our group would be good at, to come together, and even though we're a diverse group, we should be able to work together. I don't think it's nothing we shouldn't be able to get through and talk through it and work together. We may not always agree. We just shouldn't become disagreeable, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback a lot on what Pastor Cox just said, because Mayor Burke and I were talking about this a lot. I think we do have incredible forward momentum going on in the city, where there are so many activists who are doing their own little things in their own little niche. And Mayor Burke and I were talking one day, like, what brings people together? People love food. People love food, people love events, people love a reason to come together as a community. So I think part of this group could be bringing the community together around projects, right? So when I was in South Philly, there were a lot of mural projects. So like the community came together to create murals in the city, and then like city events and city programming. And then in the same regard, I think sort of the task of this group is to have those difficult conversations within our community, and making a space for that, because just like Pastor Cox said, there's healing that needs to happen. And I think that's really clear and apparent in a lot of different ways. And I was lucky enough, while I was at St. Martin, we used restorative justice. So we were trained a lot on restorative justice and restorative practices. So not only providing space for like community bonding and similar community developments, because we're all moving in the same direction, right? So everyone comes together in the same direction, but also providing moments for community healing and growth and empathy building, which I think is the harder thing, but almost as important, if not more important, because once you can get that empathy building, then hopefully we can work towards that same path.
I wonder if some of the feelings that people have is due to the fact that we are in an election time, and that possibly after the election, some of it may calm down. I don't know. But I also think that if you look at the numbers of people that are on the call versus the number of people that live in Garfield Heights, there's a lot of people who have no idea what is going on. And so I think communication is key. I know someone said to me once he was having a problem and he didn't know who his council person was. He didn't know what to do about it. And I said, hey, there's this weekly Zoom that the mayor does. You should jump on there and mention it. And then that next time he jumped on, mentioned it, and I don't know if it's been resolved because I'm not all up in his business, but he had no idea there was that weekly Zoom. And I have to commend the mayor for doing it, because it can become a weekly complaint fest. And so it definitely is a nice thing that you offer, and a chance for people to learn what's happening. but how do we let people know? And I know in the last one, Mayor, you said that the city doesn't have the money for someone to actually oversee our social media. And there's a gentleman named Weldon that's doing some stuff. So there's all those, what is it, the neighborhood app, this person's Facebook, that person's Facebook, where all types of craziness is getting put out. But the city needs to have its voice. And I think that's what we're missing is the city's voice, and not me as an individual with my complaint, and then someone else comes on with their complaint, and it just, by the time you get to the bottom of the post, whatever the first person said is not even what's being discussed. But yeah, I do hope that after the election time, people may calm down a little bit.
Well, did anyone else attend the Monday night meeting where we met with the mayor and the chief of police? And it was to discuss just the, basically it was about the violence around here and things that were worrying people. And if anybody attended that meeting Monday night, it was an excellent, positive meeting. I was really impressed. And I was really impressed with our chief of police, I've got to tell you. It's the first time I've ever, heard him speak or had any back and forth with him, and I was really impressed. But that's the way a Zoom meeting should be, is my opinion.
That Chief K.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think too, just to really quickly, super quickly piggyback on what Bob just brought up, one moment in that meeting, there was just a super interesting moment that I didn't even realize was going on in our community. Mayor Burke, what was the name of that bar?
Showcase or Bonkers?
Bonkers. And then there's one little itty bitty teeny side street on the corner that Bonkers is on the corner of. So like Turney Road and then this side street. I don't remember what it was. And there was a resident who lived on that side street who said like, hey, I'm hearing people screaming in my front yard every night, like Friday, Saturday night. I'm getting broken bottles in my sidewalk every Saturday night. There are cars flying down my road. And as a mom of 2 young people, I'm like, if that were happening on East 117th, I would be in a fury. So I think part of this group could also be research and advocacy within the community. So spotting out little moments like that might not be noticeable and figuring out what is actually going on, and then working with the community and then an extension, our government and elected officials to come up with some sort of solution to provide fair and equal living experiences.
I talked to Jason Blake, and he didn't bring it up at that meeting the other night. He actually called me earlier that day, and I think maybe Chief K may have told him not to bring it up either, because he didn't want to, call anybody a liar or insinuate that things weren't what people say. But Jason Blake had gone on a ride along, and I would invite every one of you, if you want to go on a ride along with an officer, you can do that. You're well within your rights to be able to do that. Chief K would definitely set you guys up for that, because you're part of this committee. He has been reluctant to just let any residents ride along for insurance purposes. But because you guys are serving the community, he would like to see you have an actual hands-on as to what the police do. And I've gone on those ride-alongs. But Jason told me he was frustrated because as a council person, and I mean, I've been there, Jason is put into a position where you've got a group of residents on the street who don't like what's going on at the bar. And you have a bar owner that's saying, what am I supposed to do when the people leave my establishment? I don't have any control over them when they leave my establishment. And then we call the police, and the police are trying to get there. I think personally, from my standpoint, I've been in Garfield Heights my entire life. I remember when we had 65 officers on the force, and we're at 49 going to 50 right now. And I think the number that the chief told me he would love to see would be around 56 officers. He feels he could manage the city with 56 officers. Every time we go to hire an officer, it raises our taxes because of the average pay fund. So there's a lot of people that are concerned about that. But getting back to Mr. Blake, he called me and he was frustrated. He said, we got 3 phone calls from people on Thornton, right, which is right there by Bonkers, that there was all this activity going on, people running through the backyards. There was people arguing in the streets. And when the officer showed up, and he was with the officer, so he said, when we showed up, none of that was true. And so now we don't know who called, and I'm sure, but he was frustrated because he said, I've been working for these residents who complain, and then we actually addressed it. We put up no parking tow away zone signs right there. They've towed a few cars out of there. But he said it just took a lot out of me when we would show up on 3 different occasions on Saturday night, and none of it was true, And I said, well, that isn't the first time. I can promise you that isn't the first time that it happens. Because I went on the night I went on a ride along. The last ride along I did was right around Labor Day. That night that I went on Friday before Labor Day, which I figured would be a very eventful night. And it was. We had shots fired. We had we had to detain a man for public intoxication, and he was pretty belligerent. I couldn't believe how professional the officers were. But we had a call where the actual call was, there's a house that we think there's a 5-year-old who's living in the house by himself and a dog. And the dog's running around, and the officers have to take this seriously. So we go to the house and we're knocking on the door and nobody's answering the door. And so, they politely asked me to stay outside because they had to go into the house. There was a dog, and it was a little looked like a little poodle or something like that. It wasn't even a vicious looking dog. But as soon as they went to knock on the door, they actually opened the door because the door was half open already. When they knocked it open, the dog ran into the house. So now they thought, well, this is kind of suspicious. So they go into the house and they go on all different floors looking around. They don't find anything. They don't find a young child. All they found was this little poodle of a dog that was not vicious at all. So they called back to the dispatchers or the dispatch center, and they said, listen, we're here and we're not seeing anything. We don't see a child. We see a dog, but he's not vicious. And it looks like he probably lives at this house because as soon as we opened the door, the dog went. And lo and behold, when the dispatcher called the person who called them, they said, well, we didn't actually see a child. We saw a dog, but we didn't see a child. And we just, the story had changed. And then as the night went on, I started to realize what I'm dealing with. And I've realized this for years as a council person, but that night for me, I seen it firsthand. Because I think the people who own that house or lived in that house were Black. The neighbors that were sitting out watching all this were white. And I said, I'll be darned if these neighbors weren't calling the police to harass their neighbor who's Black. And that to me is, it's utilizing the police as a tool to harass your neighbor or your Black neighbor, and I'm not sure how you prove that, but I did not appreciate that. And I'm hoping with the committee here that that's something that I can figure out how do we address that, the talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, that seems to be what the hot button is at the council meetings, and I hear it all the time. I've heard it since, we had the incident last year with the tasing video that came out. And that seemed to really, that was not helpful because it was right after the George Floyd video that came out. So the community is already in a sensitive, and and then you have this video comes out, and we were talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion in the city, but I'm going to be honest, Mayor Kalova just didn't get it. He just never really grasp what we were talking about. And the first thing he would say is, "I'm not a racist," and I'm like, "We're not saying you are. We're just saying it's time. It's time to bring the city forward and actually address these type of things." I think he was frustrated. It took a series of meetings. I know I had a series of meetings with them. Jason and Blake, both him and I had meetings with Mayor Kalova. They were tough conversations. But he rolled out, this round of diversity training that is going on now with the city. He actually made the decision to roll that out. We pressured him and he rolled it out. And I'll be honest with you, the people here at the administration, we're over 70% compliant right now. That has taken that course. Now, I've heard all kinds of stuff like, well, it's only a 40-minute video. It's an online training. My point is it started. I don't know if Mayor Kalova and the administration like I have over the last 8 years. That was huge that it actually got started. I think Pastor Faulkner on right now. Let's see, but I'm taking it to another step, and you'll probably see it on this week's council meeting, but I have been in contact with Dr. Adrian Fletcher Crawford, who is the Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for Case Western Reserve University. I will tell you, she's a pleasant individual to talk with. I have learned a lot just by being on Zoom calls with her. And that was only for the last 8 months, I think we've been talking. And we're actually going to roll that out for the administration. We're doing the next 3 months, June, July, and August, the last Tuesdays of the month. It's during the day. We're actually going to have everybody in the administration attend these. They're in-person, interactive seminars. So she puts people in breakout sessions to talk and gives examples. I mean, I think this is a very thorough training compared to what, just watching a video and answering questions is. But I got to tell you, it is making a difference. We had a directors meeting the other day. 2 of the directors were here, and one of the directors said something to the effect of, and I forget what we were talking about, but he says, it's just not black and white. And the other director said to him, you can't say that anymore. That's not right to say that. And to see people actually go through that training and learn from it and actually apply it was incredible for me. It makes me feel like, yeah, this fight that Jason and I have been on for the last 6 or 8 months with the mayor. I mean, it actually made a difference, and I think with this committee, it's going to make a difference. Pastor Faulkner, are you on?
I'm not sure he's been able to connect to the audio.
Yeah, I see him on, maybe not. But no,
He probably hit dial in instead of Wi-Fi. So it probably, so that probably is blocking his sound.
Might have to call in or jump out and call back in. The only reason why I bring that up is because I think the city it's a start, the city. I was a little taken back from the last council meeting because I had asked about for volunteers or for anybody who may have some helpful information. I want to do, instead of a summer concert series, I would like to do a summer cultural series where we bring in a different culture every Sunday, give them a platform to show their heritage and teach what their heritage is all about. So everybody can share what the heritage was. I got the idea from at the school system the other day. Hello, Pastor Faulkner. I don't think you're hooked to our audio. So I don't know that you'll be able to speak. We won't be able to hear you. But anyways, as I was saying, this cultural series, I think, could be something that will teach everybody about the different cultures. When I went to the school system, I went to a event that they had. It was a dinner. I was there late because I was also helping to clean up Turney Road with another event that we were putting on with Lawrence Lane and Michelle Daniels. And I ended up in a drum circle. African drummer, I forget his name, but I had had my second COVID shot that day, so my arm felt like it was going to fall off. And of course, he called me out for a solo on drums, and I am not a drummer, but I did the best I could. But the point I'm making with this is that I sat around this room with probably 50 people from all walks of life. We all came together because this gentleman, he's teaching us how to play this drum, and he's giving us history. And before we knew it, he reminded us, we all came together and we worked together to play these drums in unison. And it was a very powerful lesson for me. I want to be able to take that and show it to the community. Let the community attend. And the other day I was sitting here and I said, I think I can handle the Asian people because I've already got people calling me, asking me, hey, I'd like to get the lion dancers there. I can do a kung fu event, so everybody's telling me. But I said, the hardest thing is you put something like that on. What if residents don't show up? Then what do you do? But that's one of my ideas. One thing I also wanted to let you know, and I remember, I think Mrs. Lyons, you and I talked about it, or you had sent me a message about you don't think that these meetings should be public because you guys need to get to know one another first. And I agree. Unlike me, you are not elected officials. You're volunteers. I cannot meet with more than one other elected official at a time because it violates sunshine law. And even though you can make a case that, okay, let's say myself and Jason Blake and Mike Nanadovich or Tom Vaughn, we're all at a wedding. Well, we can talk to one another. We just can't talk about city issues. And we do have to police that with one another because I'm sure you all know when you go out with your coworkers, you talk about shop, right? Well, for us, this is shop, and we got to say, we can't talk about that. Unlike us elected officials, you guys don't have to be quite as transparent as we are. So you can actually have your own meeting. You can have your own Zoom meeting. You don't have to say, I'm going to make it available to the public or invite the public because you're volunteers. You're not, you're not elected officials. You're not violating any law. Now, I would ask that you would want to make it, public, but I can certainly understand right now with the conditions we face, everybody's very, very sensitive. It's probably tough to make these public because you're going to have people that are going to ask you questions right away, which is disheartening for me. I mean, I went to a National Day of Prayers today, and I went to the event this morning at St. Therese, and I'm I was asked to speak about healing and about love. And, you know, no matter what, I've never been criticized for praying. I got criticized by 2 people today for praying, you know, that I made it political, and I did not. I was like, I cleared it with everybody that was there, you know. I think everybody was there, loved what I had to say. They understood what I had to say. But I also know that the person that, you know, one of the people that is saying that is also a mayoral candidate. Also, you know, they're going to attack me no matter what. But I just want you guys to know, you can have a meeting on your own, and you don't have to really say, we're going to have a meeting on Wednesday. We're going to invite the public. You can get together, you can talk about stuff, brainstorm some ideas, and then call a meeting for the public. You're allowed to do that. I think as elected officials, we're not. So
I appreciate that, for one. Thank you for bringing that up.
I just bring it up because I know right now, no matter which way, and I don't know who supports who, but no matter which way it is, there's always somebody that's got a problem with something. I can't say anything and without somebody saying something.
Right.
Pastor McHenry.
I was going to say that I think that we probably should identify ourselves as a team, and then identify our direction before we start trying to be public inclusive, because all they can do is muddy or cloud our direction and our sight. And as you just stated, if we have more than 25 people, we'll be pulled in 25 different directions. We'll never be able to establish ourselves. So I think it would be probably most behooving for all of us to get to know one another, the direction of our intent as it pertains to enrichment and enhancing the city of Garfield and relationships. And then on occasion, we can present opportunities for the public. Maybe even better to have a designated time when we're having our weekly meetings for our spokesperson, whoever that may be, it doesn't matter to me, to share with the community the things that are taking place on this team, versus just inviting the whole team of the whole city to our meeting. We can have maybe a format at that time for somebody from this group to share with the entire public. We can have our ideas published on our social media and our newspaper. But I don't know if ever the public just sitting directly in this meeting would be beneficial. Certainly their voices count, certainly their concerns count, certainly their ideas count. But I don't know in a small group of this setting, like you said, because we're not elected officials. We're volunteering to do something because we love and care about our city. So I have to echo the idea that I don't know, I'm not sure myself personally for a public invitation to be what's going to be best for this group at this particular time.
Thank you, Pastor McHenry. Pastor Faulkner, I know you joined us late. I didn't know if you wanted to unmute and just tell everybody about yourself. You have to unmute. I don't know how you would do that if you're on the, well, is
Like
there
the
a little?
catchphrase of 2021, 2020, you have to unmute yourself. And then you get the mute face. You've all seen the mute face, right? Like, where's this button?
I think if you touch your screen on your phone,
Yes,
go
you
to
touch the screen.
the bottom, you'll see a little red where it says mute.
Tap your screen.
If you just tap your screen, you can get to the bottom there. I don't know that I can unmute. I can ask you to unmute.
That would be a great change if the Zoom platform could do it. Well, kind of an invasion of privacy though, too, like turning on and off someone's camera, turning on and off someone's mute button.
Yeah, tap your screen and hit unmute. It should be.
A little microphone at the bottom.
Yeah, it's a little microphone at the bottom. It should say unmute. Tap your screen and hit unmute.
You tap your screen, you'll see the little microphone come up either at the bottom or the top. Okay, it's the one next to the one that you just used to shut the video off.
You got the camera one.
Tapped out.
Okay.
Well, and this is a really great transition time too, because Mayor Burke, something that you said, I don't know, actually, no, it was Pastor McHenry, what you were saying, echoing Sarah's point about like opening up to the public and making sure we know who we are before we can dive into the public and invite them in and understand our direction. I think we're all in an incredibly unique position because this is voluntary, so we're not necessarily beholden or held to any particular thing. And it's a 3-year commitment. A lot of beauty can happen in 3 years, and a lot of progress can happen in 3 years. When I was at St. Martin, I don't know if you guys are familiar, I was hired on before we opened up that new building on 55th and St. Clair. So
Right.
administration at the time did a whole bunch of visualization activities and thought activities, thinking about, okay, where are we going to be in 8 years from now once this is like set up and going. I think that might not be a good starting point for us to start to think through who we are, to start to think about, okay, our term is ending in 3 years. What can come of it? What are we going to look at it? And I know we're at a transitionary phase in the pandemic, but I think especially since it's such a small group, and if we're ever comfortable enough, I would love to meet in person, because
Me
just like
too.
Pastor McHenry said, being a team, like we need to be a team and to be solid if we're going to come together as a united force for our community.
I agree.
Me too.
Okay, so here's what I wanted to suggest. If you want to do that, it's tough in the building right now because every time I talk about opening the building, and I know Pastor McHenry, when we did the vaccine, I caught hell for that at the very beginning, because number one, I said, yeah, let's do it. I didn't talk to any of the attorneys here, or I didn't talk to the finance person. I just said, how could you be wrong for, rolling out the vaccine? You shouldn't, that shouldn't be anything that's, wrong. And then I finally had to say, I don't care. We're doing it. And but here's what I was going to say outside of that. Generally, they say not more than 10 people in a room, right? Well, there's 6 or 7 of you basically, and myself. So if there's any time that you guys would like to use either my office here, or better yet, the big room downstairs here, or the rec center, the ice rink, because that's huge, if we're worried about socially distancing, we can utilize those spaces for just you guys to meet. If that's what you want. I know, Marina, you had mentioned something to me, and I'll let you share that, but I just want to put that out there. So if you do want to meet in person, we can make that happen if everybody is agreeable to it.
Yeah, I just got my second vaccine yesterday, so I'm really kind of I'm feeling it a little bit, but I've been asleep all morning trying to get ready for this meeting, and so I think that I'm available. Just have to let me know what time and the place, and I'll be there.
Sure,
Pastor
even the
Faulkner.
library has meeting rooms.
Oh
Yeah,
the
now
library.
I checked with the library. They they told me the other day that they have not opened yet,
Oh,
not allowing that. But again, this is a little different circumstance for me. And I'll just let you know, we're trying to get the council chambers hooked up for city council so they can come back in and have their meeting. And they want to live stream. We're talking about live streaming the meetings, just having them on Zoom with the directors. This way you don't have the distractions that go on with the chat and stuff like that. But
Right.
they're reviewing that, and to be honest with you, it's going to take some time to get that together. But the council chambers are already set up right now with barriers in between everybody.
Is there a way to stop that? Is there a way to have the administrator of the chat stop those chats? Is there a way to stop that? Because it's hard. The last meeting I was in, when all of that was going on, it was kind of difficult for me to focus on what you all were doing, because they were going back and forth, and it was like it was a meeting inside of a meeting.
Exactly.
And I'm kind of even though I'm a younger pastor, I'm a Robert's Rule of Order man. So I don't, when somebody's talking, nobody else should be talking. You know what I mean? When somebody has the floor, they have the floor. And that's the way it should be. I mean, it was just kind of weird for me and odd. And I don't think that should, I don't know if there's a way to block that, but I hope there's a way, because that's not good.
There is. And here's the thing. If we were all in person, you would not have the audience leaning over to one another, chatting with one another, you know, and that's what you have in these Zoom meetings. And I talked to like the school board, and I have not been on a school board meeting because like this one that's coming up on Monday, we have our council meeting Monday. So it's impossible for me to be on that meeting. But I think Nichelle told me that they moved to this live stream platform where only the school board and the school administration is on a Zoom call. Everybody else watches it on live stream. And that now the question is, how do you address if people want to have a concern? You know, and just so you know, the actual council meeting, this is where, and you said it earlier, I think, Pastor Cox, this is where people are confused. The actual meeting of council meeting is to address the legislation that needs to be voted on, put in place for the city. There's so many things that are thrown out there. Like I saw, well, why is everything an emergency? Well, when you make it an emergency, you can enact it right away. Okay. If it's not an emergency, you have to wait the 60 days. So that's a difference of 30 days, I think it is. So that's what the emergency part of that reads. If you, the suspension of the 3 reading rule, you could still have it be an emergency, but if you vote no on the 3 reading rule, it has to be read 3 times on council floor, which means that it could take, 2.5 meetings or 2 or 3 council meetings before it gets passed. And then it becomes an emergency, goes into effect right away. The other thing, waiver of Rule 24, a lot of people don't know. When they waive Rule 24, it means that the funds have already been appropriated, and you can go ahead and use that funding mechanism to go ahead and get this ordinance or resolution moving. If you don't waive Rule 24, you have to go to a finance committee meeting. You have to have the finance budget looked at. You have to appropriate the funds. And then, this could be 6 months. Well, if you're buying, for example, if you're buying this Silverado this last time, okay, we only have a small window of opportunity to get that particular truck. And we're using money that was given back to us from our Bureau of Workers' Comp overpayment. So the money is there. You have the money there. It's already been appropriated. The problem is if we don't waiver Rule 24, that truck is on an auction block, and now we've got to go to a finance committee meeting. We've got to have a series of meetings in order to get the funding to pay for that truck. By the time that happens, that truck is already bought by somebody else. That's the reason why we do stuff like that. But there's this overwhelming, that they insinuate that we're not doing something right. We're trying to get behind the scenes. So the thought process is to do the Zoom call, have everybody live stream, and if they have to communicate, they send an email to the clerk of council. I suggested up to a half an hour before the meeting starts. And then really, you're not supposed to bring anything up of a first nature on the council floor. You're supposed to have already gone to the department directly involved, the mayor, your council person, to talk about these issues, and they can resolve it. If they don't resolve it, that's when you bring it up to council. Well, what's happening now is council meetings have been turned into a debate. They want to rebut and it's so hard. Jason and I were talking the other day. I forget who it was, said, I have 2 questions. And the very first question was like 4 questions. And then the second question was another 3 questions. And we're trying to write down exactly what all the concerns were. And it got confusing for us, you know? So who knows how that really works. It looks like we lost somebody here.
But going back to the question about the Zoom, depending on the type of account that the city has, the host of the meeting can make it where the chat is for everybody, or me attending, I can only chat to the what's called the panelists and the host. So I can't chat with just another person in the meeting. My chat is going to go to whoever that host is.
And I think that that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
I mean,
they have-
because that's ridiculous.
Right, because you're right. You're trying to pay attention to the meeting and then all this stuff is jumping up.
Mhm.
Well,
And- yeah.
so just to let you know, I mean, they're working on the council chambers for that. And then you guys will be able to use that. I would say if you want to schedule a Zoom meeting, you could schedule it directly with Jennifer,
Okay.
my assistant. They are gonna outfit me with my own mayor's Zoom account because we're using up too much space on all of us together. So I get to have my own because I guess I'm having that coffee every Saturday morning and it's taking up a lot of space, you know?
Yeah.
We have to meet at the city, like, can we meet anywhere else? Like,
Oh,
if
yeah, you guys can do it. You make
Hey,
your
there's
own
a-
rules.
somebody opened up their church to us or something.
Mhm.
Meet in the park on a good sunny day. I mean, whatever.
I'm a park man. I love park. That would be beautiful.
I
Yeah.
imagine us just sitting around a table somewhere, just sitting around a table, whether it's at the
Mhm.
library or it's at somebody's house or something, just diving into the work for these next couple months, creating a firm vision ourselves. So then that way, once we get that firm vision ourselves, maybe by the start of summer, maybe like sometime in June or July, we know who we are. So then that way we can start taking ourselves to the city and saying, come with us, come work with us, let's work collectively to get these programs, opportunities, discussions done and happen.
Right. Now, Mayor, what you're saying when you mentioned the summer cultural series, is that something that you're working on? Is that something you wanted this group to work on, or what was your?
I came up with the idea based upon that event that I was at with the school. And I would love to see this committee work on that. If that's where the direction you guys want to go. I think I've got Noreen. I seem to get a lot of, well, everybody says, well, we can't do this and we can't do that, you know, because of COVID. I think COVID somewhat, it gets frustrating because I think sometimes it's a reason to not do something, you know. And I know everybody's got to be safe, but the same people that tell me, well, we got to watch the COVID thing, you know, they're going down to like the Indians game, or you know, they're the next
Right.
month they're telling me where they were at a party and there's
Yeah.
like 30 people. So I'm like, what about COVID? You know?
We decorated St. Ignatius's prom this past weekend and there were 80 tables. There were 80 tables with 9 chairs each. I think if a prom can happen with that many people, then there can be community programming in our city. I mean, safe and reasonable community programming, but programming nonetheless.
I mean, and if people are really leery, I mean, it's getting ready to be summer, so we could do a lot of outdoor events, which would be a lot safer. And then, you wouldn't have as much of the issue. You know, it's just a matter of us coming together and putting it together. You know.
Mhm.
You guys want to try to put something like that together? I really would like to see that. I don't have to be involved in the meetings. The reason why we called this one is just to get it started. I think, you know, if between all of you, if you wanted to elect, I mean, and it's probably going to take a little bit of time for you to get to know one another, but maybe elect somebody to be the spokesperson and the lead person. And then I can just kind of back out and let you guys do your thing and just, you know, be a part of the meeting or whatever, just to help answer questions, or you guys have an idea you want to do, maybe I can use whatever resources I have to make it work. make it happen. That's where my thought process is.
Right.
And
We
I'm
need to have each other's contact information so that we can set up something.
I actually got that here,
Oh, good.
and I'm gonna scan it. Jen just gave it to me today. I'll scan it and I'll send it out to.
And if it can fit at all in people's schedule, I am a creature of habit, and my teacher brain has plan and thought, right? Especially since we're creating and running with this organization that actually hasn't existed before. So I would love just to throw out like a weekly or bi-weekly time for us to sit together, ideally in person, just to start to dive into that work, come up with a mission, get to know each other more, come up with if we're going to have any subcommittees, what do those look like? If we're going to have programming, what does that look like? Get that work done ourselves and know that there's a we always called it a safe time and space. So like a safe time and space for us to come together and dive into the work together.
And I think bi-weekly would be more conducive for me, because my schedule is pretty tight. But I believe that I could work with bi-weekly better than I could a weekly meeting, because then I wouldn't be as consistent as I would want to be.
I'm okay either way. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sarah. I apologize. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just nodding my head. I understand. My issue is that I have a job that in person makes a little more difficult to do, but I can work to make it happen. And right now it's easier. Come July, when they take us back to campus, it'll become harder for me to meet in person on a Thursday afternoon at 3. But I can make it work if I need to.
So we decided Thursdays and 3, that's going to be our consistent time, or was this just?
No, we haven't decided that. I was just saying if that's what we decided.
That might be
No.
trouble for me as well.
Oh, okay. No, I wasn't. No.
And even there is this, once Mayor Burke sends out this email, there's this website, there's this, I don't remember what it is, a coworker of mine used to use it. There's this website where you can go to that you put in your free times and it finds the best overlap for everyone. So that is an option for us to say like, okay, what I have to look at the name of it. It's kind of like a Google form, like a survey that you fill out with one your best available. And then all 7 of us will do it. And then from there, it puts out like the 3 most ideal times.
Now, schedule varies often.
And that's okay.
Yeah, so to put in what's my good time, what's good today might not be good tomorrow. And once things start to open up, I start having appointments and different stuff. July is going to be a changer for me. So that site would be difficult for me right now because I would put something in that today works, but then later it doesn't.
Yeah. You can also, just so you know, I mean, if you have to miss a meeting, it's not the end of the world because they can be recorded and you can just send the link and then you'll know what everybody was talking about. You can email everybody in a group email and say, hey, I like this idea, or I think we could do this. It's making the technology work for you as opposed to trying to, get everybody on the same page. There's ways of doing it too.
Right. Why don't we look to the next 30 days or the beginning of May, maybe through the end of June?
Yeah.
We look at that.
And that might not be able, that could even be a good, I hate the word deadline, but like a good goal for us to say like by the end of June or by early July, we will have X, Y, and Z about our group. We'll understand these. And that could give us a few sessions.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so what do we want to consider for the next meeting day?
Oh, yeah, because I have a 4 o'clock, but I'm
everything, right?
What would be a good next meeting time? Would another Thursday be good in a couple of weeks, or how did you?
I would actually prefer earlier in the week. the closer we get to the weekend is when all of the events for my business happens.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty flexible. Mondays, as pastors know, Mondays are kind of our decompressed days because we pour out quite a bit on Sundays. But I could work a Monday, or I could do a Tuesday would be more feasible, I would say.
Mhm.
I was actually thinking a Tuesday.
Tuesdays
too.
are good. Yeah, Tuesdays are usually good for me.
Yeah. So
Tuesday's good for me.
What about Tuesday? Because I know we want to do every other week, but especially this is since our first like getting to know you week, we haven't actually dove into the work.
right.
What about Tuesday, May 11th?
That's next week. What do I have? I don't think I have anything. Hold on. May 11th. Why is something popping up in my mind for May 11th? May 11th.
Oh no, we can't see your schedule.
I know. If only.
What time, May 11th? What time?
So I would be happy. My boys have track that evening. So ideally, in a perfect world, my darling husband gets home from work. He gets them in the car. He gets everybody out. I would be more than happy to do a work session at my house and invite everybody over. And there could be some food, something to drink, maybe sometime around like 4 or 5 o'clock. Or I'd be happy to meet at the library or the mayor's office or the civic center as well. Whatever works for everybody.
I know that's the 11th, right?
Yeah, the 11th.
No,
I
again,
think I'm open. I think I'm open pretty much after 4. I don't think that's an issue for me.
I might have something going on that day, but again, I don't have to be there. You guys, I could come in later on or whatever. I think I have something booked that evening, but and I can't remember if that's when Jason Blake's gonna have his recreation committee meeting. But again, I mean, I don't want to deter.
Yeah, I think I don't have anything until like maybe 6:30 or something like that. A ward meeting with the councilman here in Cleveland.
And if you're gonna do it early, like 3 o'clock.
3 or 4 would be fine with me.
I could even make daytime work prior to lunch if anyone's more free in that time instead.
I'm open all day on Tuesdays.
Sarah.
I took a vacation day that day, so I'm good.
Nice.
I have to attend a meeting.
Yeah.
Let me get out of here. Let me see.
So Mayor Burke, is there somewhere at the campus that we could do like a work session on? It sounds like maybe even Tuesday, get like when we're set, like not wake up early, but around 9 or 10 on Tuesday morning.
Here at City Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could put you in that big room. I mean, we'll get it, we may have to space out, but at least we can meet there,
You're saying Tuesday morning, 9 a.m.?
To whatever we could do it Tuesday, or so I can do it in the morning. I could do it sometime around 9, like 9 to 10, 9 to 10:30, or I could do it again later in that afternoon. So like post 4 o'clock.
Okay. Does anybody?
I'm good either one.
With the morning?
Me too.
Huh?
I'm amenable on any level. Tuesday.
Right.
So I would
I'm
say
up in the morning.
afternoon. You like morning better?
I am my best self in the morning, man. You get me.
Okay,
quicker.
well I'll come in the morning.
Pretty
Hey,
good right now.
Yeah.
I'll come on over. No problem.
We
Mr.
talk
Faulkner, nod
sometimes
your
at
head
quarter
if
to
it
7.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and you guys, especially Pastor McHenry, remember when your babies were little? Y'all just remember those days. And especially as a mom, if you're not up at the crack of dawn before they're even thinking about waking up, there is.
Oh my God. My daughter was every 2 hours. My daughter was every 2 hours. She was
Right.
it is what it is,
It is what it is.
You sleep when you can. That's what you do when they're little bitties.
Right.
I know
I have to attend a meeting. I don't want to leave abruptly. I have a 4 o'clock, you all, that I
we
must
understand.
attend.
Awesome. Thanks, Pastor Cox.
And it was great meeting you. And just
Yes.
make sure we put the emails out, and I'll see you all very soon.
Yeah.
I will,
Take care.
I will send it all out right now to all your emails and then you can go from there.
All right, sounds
right.
great, Mayor. So we'll see Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Great.
Where are we gonna be?
Probably at the Civic Center here.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Pastor Faulkner, we didn't get a chance to hear from you. I'm sorry,
Next
Oh, no,
time.
I'm listening.
Oh,
but we'll put it all together and go from there.
Awesome.
Thank
All right,
you so
Sounds
much.
good.
Take
Thank
good
you.
care, guys.
All right.
all right.
Bye.
Bye.
Y'all have a good day.
Right.
Okay, have a good one then. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Take care,
bye-bye.
everybody. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet everyone.